What's up, guys, and welcome back to another Total Weapon review. I'm going to be reviewing today all the weapons to date that have been released for support. I've already covered Assault and Recon, so this is going to be the last one until they release another weapons pack, and then I'll just do a general weapons pack review. And after I make this video, I think I'm going to take a break from GRP for a while because I'm tired of the bullshit. I had 5 disconnects yesterday. I had a disconnect before I even entered the match, but my internet was fine. The matchmaking is abysmal, and it's, the game isn't broken, but man, it is fucking walking with a limp. So I'm really just pissed off the game, and I just don't want to deal with the bullshit. Anyway, let's talk about this. I already talked about the shotguns for Assault, so if you're interested in that, take a look at that video. It's only a few videos back where I talk about the shotguns. I'll be briefly mentioning the shotguns, but primarily the focus is the LMG, the light machine gun. So what do we got? We have a lot of choice, not quite as much as for Recon, but a lot more than you have for Assault. And in fact, one of the top light machine guns is the one I'm holding right now. You can see the M240L SP Halloween. Now, yeah, there is the Mod Master, but the difference between the Mod Master and the Halloween edition is just the massive fire rate difference as well as the damage. This is a short barrel and has 58 damage. You get 58 damage with a medium barrel, and you lose a ton of DPS. Now, at first, when this gun first came out, I didn't really like it. I just figured, man, way too much recoil, not worth even bothering. But if you learn to control the recoil, it is a truly deadly weapon. Tied with the new para, which I'll get in a bit, for the highest DPS in the game at 750, although this does it differently. And this is why I prefer this to the para, and I'll explain why. Because they both have a 750 DPS, but this has a very high damage per bullet, and I prefer that because you're going to get pretty nice headshots and just high damage shots in general. But up to medium maps, in fact, this is a pretty good gun, and certainly short range maps and short medium range maps are just perfect for this. The fact that it has a short barrel allows you to do pop shots quite quickly. And the fact that it has such massive DPS means you're not going to require a lot of shots to take down the enemy. I've seen this work really well in Attica. People even hard scoping from the top, and you're just 5-7 meters away. You pop out of cover, and just like that, he's dead. So works really well like that. Is this my favorite one? I don't know, but it's damn good if you can make it work, especially on maps like Tomsk, Attica. You can even make it work on nukes. Metro, you're probably going to run into problems depending on how well you can control it. But even if you had perfect control, the accuracy is just not really that great at 80. It's okay. I mean, it's LMG accuracy. That said, it's for a short-barreled, that's a pretty good accuracy for a short-barreled gun, 80 accuracy. So this is one of my favorites. If you got this, obviously it's not available anymore. Maybe they'll make it available at some point in time. This is definitely a top-notch gun. And if you can make it work in every situation, there's probably not much reason to use any other one. But yeah, really, really nice one. I like using it maybe because I'm a hipster. I'm not necessarily the best with it, but there are, in air quotes, quote unquote, better choices. I already talked about the Rainbow Edition light machine gun, the MG36H SP, and yeah, this is hands down, the best LMG. The difference is in between the control of this and the M240L Halloween is enormous. I mean, this doesn't even really require, I'm not really even moving the mouse very much. I'm just, barely moving it down. If I go back to the Halloween, the difference between, I really have to physically move the mouse downwards to control it. And the thing about the M36H is it doesn't, it doesn't have quite the DPS, but it does have an over 700 DPS. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's 712. So that's 38 less DPS. At the same time, you're getting a lot better control. You're getting a very good fire rate. You're getting better accuracy as well, slightly better. And yeah, this probably is the best gun in the game at the moment, honestly. I wouldn't quite call it a Type 95 SD, the way it used to be, but it's close. And you see most specs running around with this. I don't actually like using it anymore because it's lost its novelty. And I don't like using kind of guns that are considered, well, overpowered or whatever. But yeah, when I switch to this gun, I do automatically do a lot better. Like I said, there's almost no recoil, and yeah, it's just a super, super solid, nice weapon. And yeah, this definitely the best light machine gun. Best control, if you compare, stat-wise, overall damage is excellent at 712 DPS or 712.5 control, and medium barrel is a nice balance between a short and a long. There's nothing really to say about this gun other than, yeah, it's probably the best gun in the game and definitely the best light machine gun. It's still available, I believe, in the shop, so you better pick this up if you like playing spec or support. And you don't have this yet, and you like using overpowered or really good guns. So definitely MG36H. I prefer the Halloween because it's more of a challenge to use, and I like challenging myself. But this is easy mode. It's just hit the fire button, people die. So there still is, of course. Not everyone has it, although a lot of people these days have the AK series. I've noticed. The AK, I did want to mention something about the AK series in general because I have two of them. And it's becoming a bit outdated. The headshots are still really nice, I think, but the rate of fire is 650. The damage is pretty good, but I think, in light of all the new weapons coming out, the AK series needs another slight buff. In the case of the AK, they should either buff the damage per bullet, maybe up to 63 or 64, or give it a better fire rate because it's just there's not much. The AK, the headshots are really nice, and if you're lucky or skilled, you can land them. But beyond that, there's absolutely nothing special to it. Now you could argue that, yeah, that's the thing about the AK series, it's the headshots, but it still needs to be good and competitive on other levels. You're not always going to be able to get a headshot. And these days, on a light machine gun, 650 fire rate feels like fucking, for those of you who aren't native speakers of English, molasses. Like honey. It's just so slow. It feels so slow firing it. And yeah, it's almost annoying to use. I still use it because I like the headshots, and it's kind of a classic. But so yeah, if you like the headshots and you have this gun, it's really good. Obviously, still, most people don't have it. I think it needs a buff. And here we have the M249H Para Black, which is very much comparable in a lot of ways to the M240L Halloween. But this has a grip, and it is much more of a super high fire rate, lower damage per bullet gun. You could still argue this is probably the best gun for CQC in the game. It mows down enemies like no one's business, especially on a map like Tomsk. And certainly up to 30 meters or whatever, it's all good out of cover because, you have a grip. I personally prefer the Halloween or the M240L in general because it has the bipod, which I prefer to... I prefer that as an option because guns with grips they fucking tend to be shit in cover. But yeah, this gun I believe is still available. like I said, I'm not a huge fan, but yeah, it has monstrous DPS, tied with the M240L, 750 in fact. And you know, there's not much else to say about this gun. It's an excellent CQC gun, and yeah, you can go to town with it. And I think Mick put out a video a couple of days ago, or maybe it was a week ago, or even longer, with this on nukes. And you know, if you're Mick H, you can control this really well, but the control isn't that great. The fact is, you run out of ammo really quickly because there's 1,000 fire rate, and those are some reasons why I prefer the Halloween SP 240 SP 240L SP over this, because it balances it better with a higher damage per shot. You don't run out of ammo as quickly, and you have the bipod option. But yeah, is this a good gun? Of course, it's a good gun. This thing will, you know, cut down enemies like pigs, you know, on the firing range. But it's not a gun I personally would recommend unless you personally like running around with a grip, which I don't. I mean, that works with SMG, but yeah, not really my cup of tea. Still, an excellent weapon, and one of the top choices. And the final, you know, want to call it top choice, whatever, would be some variant of the M96H. This gun is kind of the long distance runner of the guns. One nice setup is with a medium barrel. I haven't used this gun in a long time, but it is for sure an excellent gun because it's super stable, but you know, low fire rate. When I say it's the long distance runner, it's because of the clip size, right? 300 total shots, 150 per shot per clip. Pretty high damage per bullet. This is gonna do a lot of work for you, I think. And you know, especially if you're the campy type, just camp, take pop shots, never run out of ammo, etc., etc. Of course, if you have the ammo regen, then that's not really an issue to begin with. But this is still one of the top choices, I think. Obviously, the Watch Dogs variant tends to have, it does have higher DPS. Not a huge fan of silencers on guns. This doesn't really affect the damage, obviously, like it usually would, but, you know, I don't know. I never really liked the Watchdog guns very much, with the exception of the ASVAL. But yeah, this is either this or the Mod Master. It's an excellent, excellent gun. That said, yeah, not my top choice. I think, honestly, my favorite LMG at the moment is the Halloween, the M240L SP, because if you can make it work, it is just so badass and just cuts enemies down so well. But they're obviously, yeah, my favorite doesn't mean the best. The best one is just hands down the M240, sorry, the M36H, right? Which is, I believe, let's check it out. Obviously it's available in Athena, I think, still. Someplace here, but you know, featured, where is it? Weapons, there we go. Yeah, I mean, you best CQC weapon in the game possibly, and the best overall gun in the game, they're still available. So you know, now is the time to get them when they can still be got. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about the good ones. Now, obviously they release other guns. We have the Russian-made 6P41 HSV Bodark. Now this gun, guys, is pretty deceptive. You look at the stats and you think, damn, 73 damage per bullet on a light machine gun, and then, okay, fire rate's not that great, but whatever. Now you do the maths though, and the fact is that fire rate combined with that damage comes out to about 680 something. So it is somewhere between 20 to 30 below the DPS of the MGH 36, and it is a lot lower than the Halloween edition. It's deceptive. It looks really good on paper. When you actually take it out to the firing range, you can see yeah, it's got pretty good headshot damage, just because, well, it's got 73 damage per bullet. Not quite AK range. But yeah, it's 112 is pretty good. It's not a bad gun, but it's got a problem. What is the problem with this gun? I've never used these guns in real life, but this is a Russian-made gun. I call it the Russian recoil. It's got the weird jumpy recoil. Every Russian gun in this game seems to have it, with very few exceptions. I'm not trying to control it, mind you. Yes, you can control it compared to, you can control any gun, but it's got really weird, unpredictable recoil. Now, if you compare it to the American-made M240L, what did I do with my gun? There we go. You're not going to get the weird patterns. It's much more of a straight line. You can really see the difference, I think. I'm not controlling it at the moment, but you can still see the difference between the spread and it's just jumping. It's much more even. It's much tighter. So, yeah, this is not a bad gun, but I mean there are a lot better choices. And yeah, sure, if you just want variety and you want to waste your money, then yeah, this is pretty cool. It's got the high damage per bullet and whatever. And no, that's nice. I imagine a short barrel variation would be quite potent, quite effective, potentially, because you're going to get a lot better fire rate, I would imagine. I would hope. But this isn't really anything special compared to the MG36, and it doesn't have the other qualities of the M240L or the Halloween edition. Not really. I mean, the Bodark one, I think, is just a waste. It seems nice, but on paper, but in actual practice and in gameplay, excuse me, it is not the best choice. And what else do we have left? Well, we've covered pretty much everything. M96H, still a very good choice, viable. Para, probably the best CQC game in the gun. M240L, personal favorite, just because it's a fun, challenging gun to use, and it mows enemies down like nobody's business. And of course, yeah, the best gun in the game probably being, yeah, the MG30, at the moment, MG36H SPR6. At the moment, it's definitely the best LMG, and I think most people would agree. Possibly the best gun in the game. Those of you who still have the AK, or have the AK, yep. Still pretty good, but they really need to buff the AK series. Now, briefly talk about shotguns. I already mentioned, honorary mention Type 95 SD. I still see people run around with this thing. It's still pretty beastly. I never, ever use it. But yeah, I mean, it's still pretty good. I mean, pretty good. It's an excellent weapon, even though it's tier 8. Yeah, still does a lot of work. In cover, out of cover. Put a bipod on it and go to town. I never really use this gun, but yeah, it's got amazing stability and still, it's got the burst mode. Excellent gun still. So if you have this, keep on using it if you like it. But yeah, shotguns, what I said already, this KPS thing, not very good. I think the top two choices, top three, once again, they're going to be the Mark I, which is kind of like a sniper rifle shotgun. Those of you who have it know what I'm talking about. The M3A1, what the hell did I do with it? Well, I'll skip to the next one. If you can actually kill people with this and don't have lag issues, then yeah, this one shot, one kill, nothing will survive this pretty much. The PKM5, what am I talking about? PM5H SV, really deadly. And then finally, shotguns, M3A1. This is my personal favorite. It's got the fire rate. and high damage. So I already covered shotguns in the assault video, so check that out. I'm basically saying the same thing I said there. All right, I think I'm going to wrap that up then. So let's do the usual quick review. The Bodark 6P41 SVH SV, not worth it. Looks good on paper, but in actual practice, and then when you do the calculations, not that good at all. M240 LSP Halloween, still fucking amazing weapon. I really underrated it when I started with it, but now I really like it a lot. Possibly my favorite LMG. You can try to make some variant of it work, I guess, with the Mod Master. But you know, let's just compare the two, and yeah, look at the difference. It's you lose 3 points of damage. And yeah, you lose 3 points of damage. You're also losing 1 point in accuracy. It's, you know, it's inferior. What can you say? Still pretty nice setup, but yeah, nowhere near close to the DPS of the other one. But yeah, so this we make it work. Amazing. M249H power, probably the best CQC gun in the game. The champion long distance runner M96H, still very good. Either Watchdogs or whatever Mod Master with some variant you like, short barrel, medium barrel, long barrel. They all have their purpose and their place. Really good weapon still. AK if you have it, but yeah, hands down, best weapon and for best LMG without a question is MG36 HSP. Possibly the best gun in the game. I would say it's the best gun in the game. Okay, guys, that's it for the review. I'm probably going to take a break from GRP at least for a couple of days, maybe even a week. I am totally burnt out on GRP. I'm pissed off the game. The matchmaking disconnects the bullshit, like shooting Exus at enemies when I know he's dead. So yeah, that's it for now, and I will see you for the next review. Maybe some gameplay videos eventually. Who knows? Never know what might come. Thanks for watching, and everyone take care. Bye-bye.